Yo, what's good, Bills Mafia? It's Stevie Johnson, and you're in the sit down with my man Sauce God. Go Bills.
The royal penis is clean, Your Highness. The royal penis is clean.
I'm whipping the sauce, I'm tripping, of course, I want it all. All of my dogs be running with guard. Your mama, you're holding your pennies in bra. Cause when I get whipping the sauce, you taking it off. I'm dancing on tracks like stomping the yard. We keeping it quiet, we moving the signs. But now we starting to riot, yeah. Keeping my eye on the prize. I got me a queen, we riding like Bonnie and Clyde. Trips to Dubai, the way I be flexing. I'm destined for changing my decimals. Decibels hitting the wave and rapping incredible. Splitting their head like a cantaloupe edible. Got me so high, I'm touching the sky. Of course, I give it my all. I'm whipping the sauce, kicking the door. But then we been here before. She ain't involved, what she ain't involved. Taking my shot, even if down, we tying the score. Do your dancing on twist, don't stress, don't trip. Whipping sauce real quick, stay dripping. Sipping on cognac, royal tea in my veins, where you find that? I'm whipping it, watch it get saucy.
How you doing it?
I'm twisting and mixing and shaking them haters right off me.
What you doing?
I'm whipping it, watch it get saucy.
How you doing it?
I'm twisting and mixing and shaking them haters right off me. Like how when you penny, we started with nickels and pennies, but look at us now. Black and I'm proud, I never back down. My shit is profound. When I touch down, bust down. Love it when it jiggle and it bounce. Not around whipping sauce, top dog, mix it up, switch it up, make progress in the mindset. How you digest, trying to take my words out of context. When I flex on them, work hard, talk less, say with your chest. Real tea in my veins, no threats. This is real 24, volume 1, nigga. I'm whipping it, watch it get saucy. Whipping it, watch it get saucy. Whipping it, watch it get saucy. Saucy.
The royal penis is clean. The royal penis is
Yes, Bills Mafia will be live here in just a few moments here in the Mafia Sports Bar with Sauce God 12 Gauge and expecting DV to join here as well, as the Buffalo Bills have completed the 2024 NFL regular season's home games with a 40-14 victory over the Jersey Jets. If you haven't already done so, do us a favor, hit that like and share button and join us here in the comment section. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Mafia Sports Bar on Facebook and YouTube right here. Go Bills. Yes, we are live here on Facebook and YouTube. This is the Sauce God right here at Buffalo Sauce God across the social media platforms. And of course, live here with your post-game coverage for the Buffalo Bills' victory over the Jersey Jets, 40-14. Josh Allen, 3 total touchdowns, clinching the number 2 seed in the AFC playoffs and staying unbeaten in the AFC East, as well as also their first fully undefeated season at home since 1990. Joining here with me is 12 Gauge, the producer of the show, also longtime co-host. How are you feeling, 12 Gauge, after that dub?
Oh, I am feeling really good, Sauce. Really, really good after that one. Honestly, no worries heading into the game. I knew we would cover the spread. I knew fully we would cover the spread.
I mean, it's kind of crazy to say because obviously the Patriots, we were not able to cover the spread, and I think the Patriots don't have nearly as good of a offensive as of late. The Jets have been on much of a better pace offensively, especially since Devontae Adams got there. Aaron Rodgers, if you saw during the game, they said his last 8 games. Well, that's when they started kind of figuring it out a little bit more. And of course, the Jets have had a lot of things not go their way. It's an interim head coach, and we're hearing a lot of stories about, you know, the ownership looking very, very dysfunctional. But there's a lot to discuss in this Buffalo Bills victory over the Jets, and all that and much more right here in the Mafia Sports Bar. Bills game, pregame, and postgame coverage right here on Facebook and YouTube, also available via audio podcast. So 12, we're going to talk about some things here in a moment, but you know, Khalil Shakir not getting as many yards was a little shocking to me. You want to know something else that's really funny is that, straight up Chris said we clapped them cheeks, and he ain't wrong. We beat them in a statement win, and I know, hold on. There's going to be some people out there that say, oh, it's that the Jets are 4 wins. Oh, what? it doesn't matter. A team that has nothing to play for is going to come out and try to just mess things up a little bit for you, and it's personal with the Jets and the Bills. I think for us at Bills Mafia 12, would you agree that we probably feel more ill will towards the Patriots and the Dolphins than we do the Jets? But the players, definitely, it's different. I think they have more of a personal dislike towards the Jets more than any other team in the AFC East. Would you agree with that?
I would say yeah. There's not as much of a rivalry-esque feeling when we play the Jets, but the players definitely have more fight in them when we do play the Jets.
I mean, it just is a thing that you see kind of happen a little bit more of too, is that they're I'm trying to actually get ready to pull up some highlights possibly. We might go through some highlights here on the show live. But I'm seeing right here, pull that up here in a minute. In fact, let me just make sure I do that. But if you haven't already done so, ladies and gentlemen, hit us with a like and a share at Sauce God and 12 Gauge right here in the Mafia Sports Bar. Kirby says, let's fucking go. Congrats on the dub, bro. We'd be happy to have you in here if you wanted to join us, man. Talk a little bit about football. 12, we're now 13-3. We are now clinching. We've clinched the number 2 seed in the AFC Playoffs. Do you anticipate that we're going to see a little bit of Josh Allen next week? And we'll talk more about this later on the show, so don't go anywhere, guys, because everybody knows we're watching the MVP race. Do you think that this is an early sign that maybe it's going to be time to kind of sit some of these guys a little bit? What do we think?
I'm thinking we'll see the starters for maybe one series. That's kind of my thinking, but I don't anticipate them playing a whole lot next week. Get them ready for the wild card game.
Yeah, I think, if anything, we did hear about how basically how like Josh Allen, has got the consecutive starts or whatever, and that's something that they're going to probably not want to necessarily jeopardize, right? But at the same time, you do have to be cautious and careful because, it's not – these games are games where you don't want anything stupid to happen, you know what I mean?
Agreed.
Let me just try to get this real fast. Okay. Sweet. So if you guys haven't already done so, do us a favor, hit that like and share button. Join us here in the comment section as well. We are discussing everything for the Buffalo Bills victory over the New Jersey Jets. Now, we saw the Bills kind of come out. They started with the football. They scored 7 points. But 12, at that point, the offense did stall out a little bit. So is that something that is a little bit concerning, I guess, for you, that we kind of had another little slow start there for a second?
A little bit, but second half we balled out. After we got that safety, I didn't see anything else going wrong on either side of the ball for us.
The other thing I'll say too is that it's kind of strange because we saw a lot of the penalties again, right?
Oh,
and
yes.
We're gonna go right back to the normal view because I can't get that to pull up for some reason. But so overall, Bills Mafia, tell us what you guys thought of the Bills' victory over the Jets, and how do you feel heading into the final matchup against the Patriots on the road? How do you feel about the fact that we're number 2 seed in the AFC playoffs? And what does this win mean for you? So for me, like I said in the show with the pregame show, that for me, it's like everybody was picking the Jets now that Aaron Rodgers was going to be healthy, coming back from injury. And, let's be honest, they have a lot of talent on that team, offensively and defensively. But then you have the problems with the head coach, and I think they fired their best coach on their staff. You have the issues with Aaron Rodgers controlling so many things. So the Bills showed today that they were more of a well-organized and put-together franchise and a collection of a team rather than a collection of players and talent. And that they were ready to get through this win, get out of there clean and safe. But we saw some really, really good things from a lot of guys today. And I think, Joe Brady really kind of brought the offensive game plan very well. I think the Jets and the Bills, with only that only what? It was what, 12-0 at halftime? So 12-0 at halftime, and I'm thinking to myself, there's going to be a lot more points the Bills are going to score in the second half because the Jets were able to find ways to kind of slow things up a little bit, not necessarily, though, because the offensive line or somebody would get penalized for something stupid and we would shoot ourselves in the foot and create a tougher situation. But it's funny because 12, we watched the defense today really kind of make it look like the Jets were going to get into something. And then, of course, do what I always love when I'm like, oh, God, we can't just let's go and give them 3. All of a sudden, there's a turnover. And so I love that. By the way, Kirby saying, I felt good the whole time. Really proud. I hope y'all kick ass in the playoffs. Also, how about Mac Daddy Jones over here in Duval. Yeah, I love you, Kirby. Listen to this. I feel like I'm about to crush this double wing. Go Bills. Dude, let me tell you something. 50 wings is what I would be putting down right now. If you guys haven't already done so, like and share right here at Sauce God and 12 Gauge. We are presented by BuffaloSauceGod.com. Duff's famous wings. Where medium is hot. You don't have to ask for them to be extra crispy. And don't forget that you should go to the original one on Sheridan Drive. You'll never have any issues. Tell Joe Duff that I sent you. Also sponsored by the Zubaz 716 Sports Card and Memorabilia Store in Depew. And also Big Tree Inn in Orchard Park. And Louie's Bar in Attica, home one of the best weck and wing combinations. Let's get this background music off for a minute. So we'll talk a little bit about the offensive victory formation here in a bit, as well as the pain trains in a moment too. But I kind of wanted just to highlight real fast that we saw the flags being thrown a lot in the beginning. I think even though I didn't like some of the calls, they did call correct calls, and they didn't throw sometimes, yes, but I feel like it was a well-balanced officiating game. Obviously, it didn't decide the fate for the Bills. I mean, the Bills were able to prevail in this one 40-14, and those 14 points really come in garbage time. But how fitting it is that Tyrod Taylor comes on the field to replace Aaron Rodgers, and the guy that was the quarterback to start this whole thing by breaking the drought in 2017. And I think, it was just a crazy thing to see because I have a lot of love and respect for Tyrod Taylor. The Bills made a, franchise decision into trading him and eventually moving up to get Josh Allen in the draft after they traded their pick in the previous year to the Chiefs where they got Patrick Mahomes, but the Bills ended up getting Josh Allen and Tremaine Edmonds. But it's just great to see 12 that we're still undefeated in the division. It's like, which team do you think at this point in the AFC East, I wanted to ask you just real fast, do you think it's like, what team gives the Bills the most headaches at this point? Because we see the Bills able to dominate all 3 other teams in the division.
I think a little bit of New England from seeing what they were able to do against us last week. The Patriots have pretty good game plan against us. Miami as well. We didn't win by much either of our games against Miami and our one against New England. I think those teams have pretty good game plans against us.
Let's get into some of these highlights real fast. We're going to play some of them right here. Give me a moment here. How do I get to this? You know what? That's not going to work. Sorry about that, guys. So if you guys are just now tuning in, this is the Mafia Sports Bar with 12 Gauge and Sauce God at the moment. Appreciate everybody for being patient. I'm kind of trying to do a couple of different things with the show right now because, of course, my camera likes to mess with me sometimes before the show, no matter how early I prepare, right? Wings are in the smoker, says Kirby. Whole rookie quarterback class looking pretty all right for rookies, but these receivers too. 12, man, it is such a different league at this point in the NFL where we are seeing now guys leaving franchises after not really being able to perform very well for consistently long with their franchises, like Baker Mayfield right now balling for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers today. And he played for Cleveland to start. He played for the Panthers but look, you can't always give up on a guy. Sometimes we throw these guys right to the fire way too quick in a dysfunctional situation. Josh Allen was kind of eased into it a little bit. Nathan Peterman was supposed to be the guy, But Josh Allen also was the guy that kind of just went out there and found a way to win games, and that's what makes him a different quarterback. That's what I think people in Bills Mafia, and I'm sorry, outside of Bills Mafia, don't really understand about what Josh Allen's development's been. We'll talk about that here in just a moment. I want to break down some of the statistics for the game today. Of course, the Bills came up with some huge plays on defense, 12. And, we said it in the sit down, maybe a batted pass. Greg Rousseau did that. I said AJ Epinesa had to make a play. He comes down with that and the safety. But how about the fact that we also saw Matt Milano come away with a fumble recovery as well? I mean, hey, I predicted a lot of things in the sit down today. So let's get into some of the statistics. Of course, just for anybody else out there watching, the Miami Dolphins and Browns are currently playing right now, and I'm hoping to see Miami get eliminated from the playoffs today just because fuck Miami. So the Jets is Aaron Rodgers, 12 of 18, 112 yards, 2 interceptions, sacked 4 times. Good for a positive rating of 44. Brees Hall, 10 carries for 45 yards. Not really able to get it going after he kind of had some momentum to start. But, the Bills defensively made a play here and there to kind of slow that up. Garrett Wilson led the day for receivers for the Jets, 7 catches, 66 yards, and a touchdown in garbage time. Devontae Adams, 5 catches for 47 yards. That's pretty ineffective in a sense, right? And I said in the pregame that if you take him away, it's going to make things even easier for you guys. And if you get the pressure on, boom. And I mean, sacking him 4 times, that's huge. Garrett Wilson also lost a fumble, so the Bills were able to come away with, I think, 3 turnovers today it was. So, they're also leading the NFL, I believe, in the turnovers in the second half or something like that too. So that was pretty cool to see. All right, so let's talk Josh Allen here for a bit. He finishes the day 16 of 27, 182 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 104.2 rating. Now he also ran for five carries and 17 yards and a touchdown, but I think that we didn't see a lot of yards per se because the running backs were able to kind of move the ball pretty easily. We saw a lot of stupid penalties, obviously, and we did have to punt the ball a few times, sure. But Josh Allen, 3 total touchdowns today. I think it's obviously going to be it's going to be a little bit closer than people think about this Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen MVP situation. And we're going to talk about this in just a moment as well. But leading the day for receivers for Buffalo, 69 yards on 1 catch, Tyrell Shavers, who was just elevated to the active roster today, which I brought up.
What a stat.
I didn't anticipate that one, but he comes away with that. Amari Cooper, 3 catches, 56 yards, a touchdown. So he had more receiving yards than Devontae Adams and had a touchdown. So I think, the Bills definitely won in that whole regard. Matt Collins, 2 big catches for 33 yards. Keon Coleman, 3 catches for 27 yards. After the first half, Khalil Shakir, 3 catches, 25 yards. I think the Jets were taking away Khalil Shakir quite a bit if they could. And I think that the Bills just found other ways to get other guys involved because I think that they're saving guys like Khalil Shakir's targets and plays to kind of get ready to bolster up in the playoffs. Sabres are currently up 2-1, by the way. There we go. I like that. So I guess when we go live and Chris updates us, the Sabres might win games. How about Keon Coleman, though, with that fucking dude? I mean, number one, the catch that was called back that he almost got him for a touchdown as well. That was a stupid holding penalty that they called there. And then he goes up and gets that fucking dude. Josh threw that ball in the air. I think at first I saw the defender like, wide-eyed, and I go to myself, Keon Coleman's about to jump out of nowhere. Josh didn't just throw that up for for the hell of it. And here he comes fucking balling, does exactly what we drafted him to do. People talking about Xavier Worthy being the better pick, but Keon Coleman is really just showing something here. As my guy Kirby said, Coleman is going to be a tremendous player. Give him time. He's got to rise to the top in that room. He's athletic enough to be a wide receiver 1, and that's the plan. That's the plan, but I think it's really you got guys that are 1A, 1B, and 1C in Kincaid and Shakir and Keon Coleman. And of course, I'm sorry, you should also throw in Amari Cooper into the mix too, because if the Bills are able to re-sign him, that'd be awesome. And I think that he's definitely made some plays for Bills Mafia this year, and that catch today was sick. I fucking love that catch. In fact, if you look right here on the thumbnail of the show 12, it shows his catch. And right there on the left side.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that's big boy shit right there. That's the kind of shit that is gonna make Josh Allen trust in him even more. So leading the day for rushing was the Bills was James Cook, 53 yards on 15 carries, and he did get a touchdown. He had his 15th rushing touchdown of the season. That's awesome. How about the fact that Josh Allen also tied Thurman Thomas for most rushing touchdowns in franchise history at 65, the most all time, and he's a quarterback. Thurman Thomas was a fucking MVP at one point in the NFL. Okay, guys, that's what I'm saying. Anybody that doubts Josh Allen or hates on Josh Allen, man, just the numbers back it up, but so does the wins, and so does everything that Buffalo is building and continuing to build. So Josh Allen was not sacked at all today. No turnovers. That's great. 12. Let's talk about, is he the MVP? Obviously Lamar Jackson. He's got one less interception, I believe it is, and or maybe two. I'm not sure. And he's got some more total touchdowns. But like, okay, Lamar's got some talent around, and I'm not saying the Bills don't have talent. I just think it's crazy to think you get rid of your number one receiver in Stephon Diggs, and you also get rid of Gabe Davis, and it's supposed to be a down year. He's overrated, and this is what he's been able to do, and he's been able to beat the Chiefs and the Lions. And I'm sorry, but he is the system. So 12, what do you think after today? And also with anticipation that he's only going to start for a little bit next week and not play a full game. Is this Josh Allen's award?
I believe it is, but I do believe it's going to be a lot closer than what I originally thought after CBS brought up that graphic. Shout out CBS.
Yep.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot closer than I originally thought, I think.
Well, excuse me, guys, too, because I'm sick. I'm trying to mute myself. But, just a few weeks ago, he was a minus 900, okay? And the thing is that was a good amount of games still to go. And obviously, Lamar Jackson then put on pretty good back-to-back performances and has been on a really absolute tear. And people talk about, the Ravens beat us earlier in the year, but it's not like it's not like Lamar Jackson beat Josh Allen. You know what I mean? It was a different story. The Ravens made plays time in and time out. And now, who knows? Maybe it really is in a sense that we weren't showing as much as we could because they didn't really look like the same team in that week, right? I think the Texans loss was a little bit of a fluke just because we had some coaching errors in a sense, right?
Mhm.
But Josh Allen, I think at this point has done enough to me to win the award. I think that you put the 3 total touchdowns today. You're undefeated in your division. You clinched your division with 5 weeks to go. You've beaten the number 1 and number 2 team by record standpoint of the Chiefs and the Eagles. I'm sorry, the Chiefs and the Lions. And you're doing all this, and he did so with a fractured left hand. So the whole season, basically. So
Yeah.
I think it's his award. I'm sure that I'm trying to pull up the MVP odds right now. I'm not sure what it currently is at the moment, but I'm going to try to pull it up right now. So Josh Allen is now a minus 320, which he was just minus 220. And this is according to DraftKings. Lamar Jackson is a plus 240. So barring some 10 touchdown performance by Lamar Jackson, it seems to me it's his award. Obviously, we could see something go stupid at the NFL award ceremony, but it's not that important to me. I just think it's justification for my quarterback. Everything that he's done, and I want to talk about his development, Gage, and I'm gonna give you some goosebumps here in a minute. Nathan Peterman was going to be the starting quarterback, and hopefully we could kind of ease Josh into the time to develop. Because like I said, we rush quarterbacks into situations like Bryce Young, and then eventually Frank Reich is fired. Bryce Young is a good quarterback. Look at how he's playing after he was benched and got a chance to sit behind Andy Dalton and watch a few different things. It's a different game when you get to the NFL. Aaron Rodgers sat behind Brett Favre. Jordan Love sat behind Aaron Rodgers. Okay? Josh Allen got thrown to the wolves with no talent around him. I mean, he had Zay Jones, Robert Foster, Charles Clay, who drops the one loss against Miami. And he did all this with a poor offensive line, really no offensive system. But he goes out there and he finds ways to win games, especially against Minnesota. He beats the Jacksonville Jaguars, and he goes on a tear, and he is looking like one of the like a football player, a true football player. And that's where he gained our respect, number one. But he went out there and got better in the next year when they got John Brown and Cole Beasley, a couple guys that could really help, and they bolstered up the offensive line a little bit. They make the playoffs that year. He loses in the playoffs to the Texans, but it's a tough loss, and he learned from it. Next year, Bills get their first they get their first playoff victory in 20-something years. They clinch the AFC East. All these things, right? Okay? And doing so, when they got Stephon Diggs, they showed that they're invested in him and they'll do what it takes to get him pieces if that means, hey, you got a great number one receiver. Let's not deny the first 2 years of chemistry that those two had, especially year one. That was magical. But they built around him and he got better and better. And he's gone through so much adversity. I think people in Bills Mafia need to understand, and people in the world need to understand, we might feel the loss, sure, but that's that guy's legacy. That's not my legacy. It hurts. Yeah, I want my team to win, but like that dude probably took it harder than anybody else when we lost to Kansas City. And he probably wasn't upset with his teammates. He's probably upset with himself that he could have made one or two more plays. Now we watch him this year. Everybody said Stephon Diggs is gone. The Jets are going to take the Dolphins, whatever. It's going to be a down year, and they'll get back next year. No, he didn't do that at one point. In fact, Josh Allen showed us a lot of growth and maturity in his game to where he would slide. He would live to fight another down. And Josh figured out ways to win this year. And the Buffalo Bills, their coaching and their team has figured out ways to win this year. That's what they did today against the Jets. They were stalling out a little bit in the first half, but whatever, they end up winning 40-14. That's just crazy. This is one of the best offenses we've ever seen from the Buffalo Bills by far. One of the best offenses I think that we've ever seen in. Emily said that the show sounds really good in the car. I love that, the microphone then. But
Excellent.
Everybody out there that wants to talk about Lamar Jackson, listen, dude, He's got Derrick Henry back there who could very well have been an MVP himself, but Lamar has played well enough to be an MVP. But I think the award belongs to Josh Allen. I think you saw Lamar. He sat behind Joe Flacco for the first year, right? Sam Darnold got thrown in the Woody Johnson fire. That fucking franchise is just boom. Now, 12, let's talk about the Jets. What's next for them? Are they going to blow this up? Is Aaron Rodgers going to come back next year? Because obviously we've heard so many stories in recent news that the Jets owner does this guy's got, dude, and then he didn't trade for Jerry Jeudy because of his Madden rating or some shit like that. It's just, whoa. 12, do you anticipate Aaron Rodgers being back to play for the Jets next year against the Buffalo Bills?
It's really hard to say. I mean, if Aaron Rodgers wants to do what Aaron Rodgers wants to do, I don't know. Maybe, possibly he'll be back. Possibly he won't, but ultimately it's up to him.
Okay. So I think they'll probably bring him back just because they've committed a lot to, and they'll probably give him one more year because they started playing somewhat better. Now they got Devontae Adams over there. They might try to build a little bit more on that. Who knows? But I think Garrett Wilson's probably going to leave the Jets. He'll probably get traded. He's got a lot of trade value. So I don't know, man. It's just it's crazy to think that we're watching two franchises in our division struggle quite a bit, like the Patriots. And the Patriots are also going through a rebuilding era, and I think that they have a better coaching staff and a better franchise situation than the Jets, obviously. So with that being said, man, the Buffalo Bills come out victorious 40-14 over the New Jersey Jets at home to finish undefeated at home games in the 2024 NFL regular season and clinch the number 2 seed in the AFC playoffs. It's Sauce God in 12 gauge right here in the Mafia Sports Bar on Facebook Live and YouTube Live. Hit us with a like and a share. Join us here in the comments. Make sure you're followed, liking, and subscribe with your notifications turned on so you never miss the live versions of this show or any of the up-to-date stuff for the Buffalo Bills, Buffalo Sabres, and Buffalo culture. Don't forget the Sit Down podcast, sports and entertainment podcast, is live Friday nights right here on Facebook Live and YouTube Live as well. And that's at 7 p.m. Eastern time, Friday nights, and also available via audio podcast, wherever you may get your podcast from. Also, by the way, rest in peace to former President Jimmy Carter, who died today at 100 years old. That guy was still like volunteering his time and this stuff. I don't get into politics. It's just, he's an American president, and it's rest in peace to him, man. Greg Gumbel. How about Saquon Barkley today eclipsing 2,000 yards, and he's 100 yards away from breaking the record. Brock Bowers set some rookie records as well. That kid's an absolute fucking animal. But 12, let's get into some of the breakdown of the offense and defense for the Buffalo Bills today. It was some of these segments, such as let's get into a little bit of the pain trains first, and let's talk about who played well for the Bills defensively and why they were able to come out of this one victorious. Who was your defensive MVP for the Buffalo Bills today?
I got to go with that whole D line and our linebackers.
Man, Buffalo Joe had 8 total tackles today, leading
Oh,
the
yeah.
way for the Bills. That's I love seeing that. I also like seeing that he had 1 for a loss. AJ Epinesa for me was definitely the MVP. I mean, he comes away with a safety, 2 sacks, and he had the interception. Greg Rousseau, opposite of him, goes with it. So the defensive line definitely did their jobs. I think we just really saw great play over. Now they were able to get some yards and get some chunks at times, yes, but really we never let them establish any sort of rhythm. And appreciate the emoji stars. But really, because when they got down there and they started getting ready to score and we come away with a turnover, that right there is just what separates this team from other teams, because you can get some yards, but when you're only giving up 3 instead of 7, when it looks like you're going to have 7, no problem, or you don't give up anything at all, I think that right there is a recipe for success almost every single week. So the Bills win the turnover battle. They got pressure on Aaron Rodgers. They didn't let the run game become a thing, and they took away their best playmakers and their best chemistry. So the Bills defensively are game planning well. I'd like to see more pressure at times, more consistently. I feel like at times we're really just better at some against some teams, and maybe we're just not showing everything, right? That's what people are saying too. So 12, we got the Patriots next week, and we saw Drake May kind of finding a way to get it going a little bit against the Bills. Do you think this defense is prepared to hey, because obviously this game is it's meaningless, except for, we want to win the game. We'd like to see maybe a Josh Allen touchdown or so, right? But we'd rather see everybody get out of there healthy. But now that we've clinched the number 2 seed, there's not much incentive to play for. So really, defensively, what do you think the Bills need to do with next week and heading into the playoffs?
I saw that. I think they saw a little bit of what Drake May could do. He can obviously run the ball effectively. He finds that little soft spot in the zone. I think they're going to have a little bit better game plan next week than they did last week.
Yep.
And
how about Christian Benford gets an interception as well.
Oh yeah.
So wait, I thought AJ Epinesa got one. No, that was Jordan Phillips.
That was Jordan Phillips. Yeah,
dude, I forget. It's like Jordan Phillips is out. Okay, it just throws you off sometimes when it's like I don't. You never hear about that guy no more. But of course, he's still there lurking. No, AJ Epinesa does come away with a couple big plays today. I think that defensive line just did their job. Von Miller getting a sack today also was big. I think for anybody that needs to gain some confidence heading into the postseason, it's Von Miller. He's going to get his chance, fully healthy and ready to go with no distractions, no suspensions, rhythm. And I think when he plays well, it really opens up the door for guys like AJ Epinesa and Greg Rousseau to make more of an impact. Ed Oliver doing a good job defensive tackle today. I like what I saw from the linebacking core. I think overall, doesn't matter. You bend, you don't break. You don't want to have that necessarily against teams like the Ravens or the Chiefs in the playoffs. But at the same time, what's the best complement to getting turned is the offense going and putting up points, even if it's just 3, right? So 12-0 at the end of the half. Bills offense had a bunch of rhythm to start the game, obviously, but then kind of looked like, okay, we got to find a way in the second half. So let's talk about what the Bills did right offensively in the second half and what we think of their playmakers going forward right here in the Mafia Sports Bar. All right, so 12 gauge, who was Josh Allen's guy out there today? Who was it really that made Josh Allen, what complemented his 3 touchdowns perfectly well today?
Well, I got to say everyone. Everyone complimented everyone playing complimentary football on offense. Everyone eats, as that mentality goes, as they say in the locker room. Everyone eats with Josh Allen, and I think that's what proved to be the defining factor in the second half.
I think just James Cook having a little bit of success running the football, Ty Johnson too, just those few carries really opened up the door. But I think the Bills really were going to establish Josh Allen was going to do what he had to do. Of course, we're in some situations where we didn't have to go so long to score, and that's kind of why we didn't see a lot of yards for Josh Allen per se or the running backs. But they got first downs, they controlled the clock too, and they also they just didn't turn the football over, which is huge. They just kind of got chunks here and there, and I think that Keon Coleman really is getting more of a different look in the offense as well. We're more of a possession kind of guy in the middle of the field. I mean, you can utilize this guy in so many ways, and it's his rookie year. And it's his rookie year on an offense where we're trying to, it's not like he came in with Josh Allen and they're going to try to figure this out as rookies together, right? No, he's in there with an established receiver and Khalil Shakir, Dalton Kincaid, all that stuff, right? So I think it makes me excited to see that, we didn't necessarily need to go to Khalil Shakir in the second half, and that we went to other guys and Dalton Kincaid with a couple nice catches. Overall, though, I think it's just like the thing that the Bills offense does really, really well is when they are running the football and getting 4, 5, 6 yards on the first down and knowing when to take a shot down the field. I think that the Bills did a really good example of that today, throwing it deep on 1st and 10 instead of 3rd and 10. Josh took what the defense gave him today, and he also made some really great plays. For me, the best play is obviously got to be the Amari Cooper touchdown, but I think the Tyrell Shavers touchdown, it had Emily. She's like, what the hell? They're still scoring. They got backups in. Tyrell Shavers with his first career touchdown, I believe, as a rookie. People said in training camp that kid was good. So cool to see that as well. Now, I think what the Bills need offensively do a little bit more better is the penalties on the offensive line. I think you're getting an eligible man downfield, illegal formations, stuff like that. We have to clean those things up. If we can eliminate those things, we probably would have beat the Jets today fucking 65-0. Okay? I'm just saying. But that's okay because we still, even when it was 2nd and long, Josh Allen would find a way to make a play or something would negate it, like the Jets getting a penalty or something like that. You just have to be the better team on the field in the sense that you want to stay professional, stay clean, keep your heads too, because the Jets can get in the fucking Bills, they can irritate the fuck out of them. Always don't back down, sure, but know when to be the pro and be the champ, and know when to fight, right? That's the only things I could say about the Bills offense that needs to get a little bit better. I'd like to see, I just like to see less penalties. I'm seeing less drops. That makes me happy, but 12, there's a lot of good things to build on. Matt Collins today with a nice catch too as well. Just overall, I think Joe Brady's dialed in. I think Bobby Babich is dialed in. I think Josh and Sean McDermott are dialed in. I think the guys are ready to go, and I think they're itching for the playoffs. Now, the Bills will host an NFL playoff game at least for 2 games, I believe. If they win the first game, obviously, and they would host a second game in the divisional round. And depending on who is the higher seed, the AFC Championship, they would have a possible chance to host that should Kansas City be knocked out. So, and we talked earlier in the show, on the pregame show, how cool it would be for the Ravens to have to come here after all the MVP talk and the game before the Super Bowl, and Bills finally get a chance to just do it and beat them and get there, right? 12, when you think about it, what do you think is in this Bills' destiny for this year?
I really have lots of faith. And we're going to the Super Bowl. We are going to win the Super Bowl.
I think it's set up that way in a sense that, the opportunity is there. It's not going to be an easy ride by any means, but we've gotten through the bumps in the road and we've been able to find way week in and week out, and we've stayed really composed as a team, and we've done so without a lot of guys healthy on the field. Matt Milano being the biggest one for most of the year. He wasn't there. Keon Coleman out for some weeks, now getting back to himself. It's tough, but we are finding ways. So if we could stay healthy, get through this next game against the Patriots, It'd be cool to win 14 games, sure, but at the end of the day, it doesn't really fucking matter. We're good to go. We just want to get ready to go to the playoffs. I think it's going to be a little bit of a tough road in the playoffs. You got teams like the Broncos possibly about to get in, maybe the Bengals sneaking in. There's a lot of teams right now that are hungry and playing really tough football, but that's the thing is the Bills are also at they're just playing. They're just on their point. They're on their game right now, and I'm happy to see that. So overall, I'm ready to take away from this victory that the Bills are the kings of the AFC East. They are ready to possibly be the kings of the NFL. It's in front of them. It's there for the taking. As long as officiating doesn't interfere with it, Buffalo writes its own destiny this season. Definitely. It was especially with Josh Allen possibly getting the MVP award. How fitting it would be to get the MVP and the Super Bowl win and MVP trophy as well and be able to come back and have that Super Bowl parade in downtown Buffalo. So that's going to do it for us, though, here in the Mafia Sports Bar with Sauce God and 12 Gauge at Buffalo Sauce God across the social media platforms. This is a part of the GameBook Sports and Entertainment Network presented by BuffaloSauceGod.com. Duff's Famous Wings, where medium is hot and don't have to ask for them to be extra crispy if you go to the original on Sheridan Drive. Louie's Bar in Attica, home of one of the best weck and wing combinations in Western New York. The Big Tree Inn in Orchard Park next to the stadium, and the Zubaz 716 Sports Card and Memorabilia store in Depew, New York, ran by Mo Down, one of the co-hosts. 12 Gauge, appreciate you for manning the boards and manning the production. And as always, everybody out there, thank you for your likes and your shares. Make sure you tune in with us here in the Mafia Sports Bar, pregame and postgame coverage on Facebook Live and YouTube Live, and available via audio podcasts, wherever you may get your podcasts from, and also live here in the Sit Down Friday night, 7 p.m. Eastern Time on Facebook Live and YouTube Live as well. And as always, bolster up. God bless. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Enjoy Victory Monday and get ready to bolster up as we are ready to head into the playoffs and stand tall. Bills by a billion. Bills are undefeated in the AFC East, still with one game remaining at 13-3 and the number 2 seed in the AFC East. That's going to do it for us here, guys. God bless. Bolster up, stand tall, and go Bills.